Hi, I'm Paul Begley. Well, what's going on? What's going on? Russia's in trouble. When you start to hear the name Mikhail Gorbchev and the fact that he said that the stability of the Russian government is in jeopardy, I mean, we're talking about the Russians. We're talking about the second most nuclear weapons in the world, and a nation that was trying to evolve from communism into a democracy. And the guy who was really spearheading that was Mikhail Gorbchev. But now he is speaking out saying the Russian government is instability, it's unstable, and the reason he's saying it is because freedom and because democracy is dying. Let's read to you real quick. I want to touch this subject right now. Coming out of Reuters. Oh man, this is not good. But who is stable? Think of Russia's former president, Mikhail Gorbchev, saying, "We're not the country's in trouble. We're not stable." Okay, Greece completely upside down, had to be bailed out. Ireland completely broke, had to be bailed out. Portugal, Spain, they're next on the list. America struggling mightily right now. I mean, think for a moment. France, these nations. England's got people protesting in the streets. Students are angry. Look, there's protests on in right now because they don't believe that everything's right. The current crisis, we're in a complete meltdown of nations' ability to communicate, and so you got this global market has turned things upside down in just a matter of time. Now this is from Moscow. Former Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev warned that Russia's undemocratic political landscape is threatening its very stability. Gorbachev said in an article this Friday that the lack of political competition, flawed elections, shrinking media freedom, and rapid corruption has slowed down Russia's development. Wow. Can I just say that again? The lack of political competition, flawed elections, that's good, shrinking media freedom, that's definitely not good, and rampant corruption has slowed down Russia's development. Now here we go. If we fail to overcome the undemocratic trends, all of our achievements of previous years will come under threat. Not only the democratic process, but the stability of the nation itself. Oh my. Gorbachev is part owner of a newspaper with this Russian billionaire, and this guy even owns 2 British newspapers. You can see why he's a little bit on the media side, but that's fine. Without freedom of speech, without it, you're dead. Okay? Without directing Prime Minister Vladimir Putin, Gorbachev, 2-page article, trend in the nation's political life became particularly in the year of 2005 through 2006. That's when Vladimir Putin served in a presidential term. So he has been Russia's dominant leader, even after shifting to the premier seat and widely expected to return to the presidency in 2012 elections. Folks, this 2020 has got a lot of moving heavy heads. The 8-year-old Russia's Vladimir Putin rolled many Soviet. He abolished popular elections of this. That's terrible. That be killing all the states. Not getting elected more. I mean, they're getting a lot of power from individual people. But he go back, he read some of many post-Soviet freedoms. That's not good. He abolished popular elections of the governors. That's not good. And he initiated other electoral changes that strengthened the Kremlin's control over Russia's political life. In other words, making it very difficult for anyone else to even get in the political process. Sounds like America. And oversaw the state takeover of the independent television networks and the growing state control
over key industries. So he took over the media. And when you do that, you take over the media, you tighten up the controls, you don't let nobody else participate or compete in the political arena. You take away the freedom of speech, and you start rolling back, and you take away people's ability to elect people. I mean, what? You're communist again. And that's why I keep saying, don't write me and say they're not communists. That's why I said that. You go back to my videos, I'll tell you that Russia's still communist, because you got a former KGB agent running the place. He's running the place. He's establishing his own dictatorship disguised and masquerading as democracy, when it's not democracy. He's become the Red Russian Revolution leader. Is Vladimir Putin. Anyway, Gorbachev has often been critical of Putin's policies without referring to him by name, but Friday's criticism appeared sharper than all the previous statements he ever made. What are you going to do? Russia's in trouble. It's follow the money. And that's really the problem, because when you follow the money, you'll find out that the reason these nations are struggling is because we're in a currency crisis. Greed and corruption, selling one another out, have created the nations who once were prosperous and were self-sufficient have now been watered down by the delusion. And it's real simple. If you got a manufacturing base in America and you're paying your average worker $15, $17 an hour across the board, okay? And all of a sudden you start moving them industrial plants to China, to Vietnam, and to Korea, and they then pay their workers $1.30 an hour. The products come rolling into America. Here they are for people to buy. People are buying them up, and the companies are making gazillions of dollars. Okay, but after a while, your base erodes because they don't have a job. And instead of saying, hey, I see the trend, we need it, it's too late. The genie's out of the bottle. And once the genie gets out of the bottle, the greed factor takes in. So then they start saying, no, I'm not going to go back to them. We're not going to do that. How can I stomp out my competition? How can I run over this one? What other country can I get to help me set up a new plant with tax abatements? What other? Greed, greed, greed. So in other words, the prosperous countries have watered themselves down by expanding their manufacturing base into the poorer countries. And the poorer countries, well, they don't get any better off because they have corrupt governments who take all of the money off of their backs. So now you have the few elitists in the world and millions of peasants, billions of peasants. And that's why, Prince Charles, they're kicking your door in. They saw your Rolls Royce. They realized they paid for it. They worked hard. They pay higher taxes than they did 10 years ago, and now they're going to triple their tuition. And then you come strolling by, checking it out in your Rolls Royce, and they smashed your windows and kicked in your doors, and you're lucky they didn't get inside the car. Gorbachev's right. Mikhail Gorbchev is right. If freedom dies, so does democracy. I'm Paul Begley. This is, oi Paul, you might say, what's this got to do with the Bible? It has everything to do with the Bible. This is how you bring about the New World Order, which is ultimately what that is. That's the mark of the beast. That's the rise of the Antichrist. The false prophet's already spoken. That's radical jihad. Now it's time for the Antichrist to pull together the beast. I'm Paul Begley. Read it in Revelation. It's there.